Welcome everyone. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes until we have a few more attendees join us. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Abby McNulty. I'm the Executive Director of the Park City Education Foundation. I'm also the mom to 2 children in Park City School District, grades 4 and 7. Park City Education Foundation's vision is to help launch well-prepared, curiosity-driven, creatively inspired citizens of the world. We've been serving kids for over 30 years, and we exist because Utah's the lowest funded education system in the country, and 96% of the locally collected tax dollars for education leave our community to fund other school districts throughout the state. So annually, we raise and fund about $1.5 million in programs to support your students and this community. And we do it through the generosity of you all, parents giving to our annual Give 180 to Beat the Call campaign, our Scholar Circle program, major gifts to PCEF programs, and participation in our events like Red Apple Gala and Running with Ed. So I wanted to say thank you to all of you on this call today. As Scholar Circle members, you're making annual leadership gifts in support of PCEF's work. And it means so much, especially right now, as we continue to face unprecedented obstacles. Since the start of 2020, COVID has brought a lot of challenges to our world and to our community. And our commitment to you is to remain nimble, responsive, and supportive of teachers and students and their needs. And we're so grateful for your support, advocacy, and partnership in this work. We really can't do it without you, so thank you so much. We also want you to know that we're committed to connecting with you in this new virtual world in this time of social distance, and we're grateful that you're here today. We will do a poll after Dr. Hunt speaks on how we might connect with you in the future, what kinds of things you're interested in hearing from us about, and how we can continue to build this community when it looks a little different these days. With all the challenges of COVID-19, there's also been a lot of opportunities to see the important role that schools play in our community, in our economy, and in our own family life. It's also an opportunity to really see and hear and feel the amazing things that teachers do every day to work with our kids, to engage them in learning, to bring joy. It's also an opportunity to see how we might innovate for the future of schools. We've definitely, nationally, the conversation has been about the challenges, but let's not miss this opportunity to think about how schools might change and adapt to serve our kids and our communities. So today, we're honored to have Dr. Amy Hunt join us. Dr. Hunt is a scientist turned educator turned school administrator. She's the Chief Academic Officer for Park City School District, and we are excited to have her so that she can share information with you all about the lessons Park City School District has learned through the time of the COVID pandemic and school closures. So I will turn it to Dr. Hunt.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Well, good evening. I'm delighted to have just a few moments of your time tonight. I want to begin by expressing appreciation on behalf of all of Park City School District to the Park City Education Foundation and to our Scholar Circle friends. Your contributions to the programs and grants funded by PCEF are critical for us to be able to provide students in our district a world-class education. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to serve here in Park City School District. This year's my second year in the district. Prior to that time, I worked for a brief time in Granite School District in Salt Lake City, but most of my adult life I've lived and worked in the San Diego, California area in schools along the border of California and Mexico. As was mentioned, I've not always been an educator. As an undergraduate and graduate student, I studied genetics and worked in clinical lab settings. During that time, I was asked to develop a corporate training program and to lead some training sessions. And it was there that I discovered I have a real passion for teaching. I love every day of my work because every day I get to see young people experiencing growth. And I truly believe there's great hope for our future. So, what an action-packed year I had my first year here in Park City. Like many, I never would have imagined that we'd be shifting to remote learning in the spring. Educators across the nation experienced a very sudden shift in every aspect of their work. Families had to adjust their lives to be able to help their children learn from home. Admittedly, schools across the nation were unprepared. I do want to say that Park City School District did have some advantages over other districts, both here in Utah and throughout the United States. Here we've had an ongoing one-to-one technology initiative. This meant that when remote learning was necessary, we weren't scrambling to try to procure a large volume of computers. Our struggle was in working with teachers and students to effectively use that technology to continue to learn. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic continues, and with it, the expectation that our teaching and learning system will continue to need to be flexible because we're still receiving new guidance. We're still learning, reflecting, and adjusting. Although we're not yet in COVID-free environment, there are lessons to be learned from our school closures in the spring, and I would like to reflect on those with you today. The first lesson learned is that equitable participation in learning was compromised when schools closed, and Park City School District is no exception. Schools are more than learning institutions. They serve as community resource centers. For some students, daily school attendance guarantees a safe environment with physical and emotional nourishment. It was hard for us not to be able to see and support our vulnerable students each day. But we continue to ensure that any child who needed it was able to have daily grab and go meal service. The Park City Education Foundation, whose focus is on the needs of all students, provided funds for schools to be able to create supply packets for those students who needed them and would now be learning from home. In the district, each school has an outreach coordinator. These coordinators are critical in establishing relationships of trust between the school and families. They work with families to share school and community resources. When schools closed this spring, our coordinators were pivotal in working with families. They sprang into action and quickly identified families with needs. As we began to recognize that school closures would move beyond 2 weeks and that learning would need to continue from home, our coordinators worked to identify students that needed access to the internet. Through a program put in place by T-Mobile, we put Wi-Fi hotspots in more than 50 homes and apartments. And within a few short weeks, we were able to place another 75 hotspots in homes all throughout the district. Park City School District's written mission is to inspire and support all students equitably to achieve their academic and social potential. Our vision is student-centered with a focus and emphasis on the whole child. The closure of schools in the spring gave us an opportunity to demonstrate that commitment and to examine ongoing organizational systems to ensure that equity in student learning continues. Another lesson learned this spring is that the partnership between schools and families is crucial for learning. We've always believed that parents are the first and most important teachers in the lives of their children, and school closures this spring were an important reminder of that belief. Parents suddenly became partners with our teachers for formal learning. They had to learn how to understand and use student computer programs, to teach and tutor, and to provide emotional support, all while many of them were also learning to work from home. Additionally, and importantly, they had to remain patient and flexible while our school system adjusted and we put home learning practices into place. We're tremendously appreciative that families rallied around the district and have continued to provide feedback and work with us in navigating schooling during a pandemic. During the spring closure, the most frequent comment I heard from educators was how much they missed being with their student. I believe that the early days of the community closure helped all of us understand the importance of social relationships. Our teachers and staff went to great lengths to make sure that the relationships they had built with students continued to strengthen. They made music videos, they delivered packages, they placed yard signs, and they made personal phone calls. They also focused on trying to understand how to design experiences for students to be able to interact with each other virtually. This understanding that relationships are crucial for learning shifted our focus in planning for a return to school this fall. Specifically, additional training was provided for remote learning teachers for them to be able to understand how to build relationships with students online and to create a virtual classroom community. For our in-person teachers, training was provided to set up a safe classroom where social interaction with physical distancing could occur. Our mantra from early on has been people first, and that is evidenced in this lesson learned. People first became a very important piece of our planning this fall. As we began to realize that we weren't going to be quickly returning to business as usual, we knew we needed to focus on developing a number of options for schooling this fall that varied from remote learning to in-person learning to every scenario in between. Planning for schooling with multiple scenarios with limited ability to adjust funding and staffing is extremely complex. Thus, we decided it was important that we needed to come together and put forward ideas that we could work through together. In May and June, we assembled 6 internal task force groups to delve into specific planning areas. Each of these groups was provided a charging document, which outlined specific outcomes related to the topic. And we asked that all use official guiding documents that had been provided by the governor's office at that point in time. These groups were also tasked with sharing specific ideas to help us understand how to collect stakeholder feedback so that we could understand the learning needs of our students and families. The task force groups included representation from different schools and positions across the district. Their work has provided much of the details of the PCSD Ready to Return plan implemented this fall. The groups also worked through a number of ideas that can be used should future direction and guidance cause us to need to make additional changes. The participation of our staff members in these task force groups made it possible to understand and plan a return. A lesson learned is that we were able to achieve more when we are inclusive of all who share our work and are responsive to the needs of those who are impacted most by our work. This fall, we continue to understand how important physical and emotional well-being is for our staff and students. Learning simply cannot take place when people are strained beyond their capacity to manage their responsibilities. This is true of students, of families, of teachers, and all staff. The 2020-21 school year has actions attached to it that are new, take time and energy to put into place, and require constant reflection and revision. Regardless of the learning modality, approaches to teaching and learning have changed. Whether it has been to wear a face mask, or to teach a hand washing routine, or to adjust a lesson and then make sure that it's available online, or to help students learn to follow a schedule for remote learning, or managing your time to be able to connect with students who need additional support. Certainly you can see this year's been a time for both adjustment and significant change. People first means that while we can't completely reduce stress and we're not able to adjust operations to satisfy all individuals, we can still focus on well-being. One important way to do this is to remember the number of things that we focused on and set some very clear expectations. Several important initiatives that were planned for this year have been postponed to be able to focus on the task at hand to ensure the health and safety of students while providing continuity in learning. Additionally and importantly, we've provided training for all of our leaders regarding warning signs of anxiety, stress, depression, and burnout. And we will soon be sharing self-care strategies with our staff. Of course, the notion of wellness extends beyond our work with educators and staff. One of the concerns that we're experiencing is how to best identify and support students who struggled during emergency remote learning and have experienced lower than expected academic growth. Coming back, our elementary school interventionists are implementing a 10-week plan. This included conducting beginning of the year testing right as soon as school started. Data from these assessments in math and reading are being reviewed in regular professional grade level meetings. Interventionists and teachers are working together to plan differentiated learning for small groups and individuals targeted to address their specific learning needs. We also knew that we need to work with some students with increased social emotional needs upon returning. Pre-service training included modules for teachers that were created by our social workers and behavior specialists to support our students who were coming back to school with social and emotional needs. In Park City School District, we have extremely talented and highly qualified teachers. What we learned during emergency remote learning is that teaching online is different than teaching in person. And we know that university teaching training programs have never had the need to teach teachers to engage students in online instruction. Thus, even our most effective teachers were not fully prepared to support remote learning. Interestingly, in considering how to provide support and training for our teachers, we soon learned that existing resources regarding remote learning were largely focused on technology tools and technical supports. What we really needed were developmentally appropriate methods for teachers to utilize in working with students remotely. After a number of searches and a lot of digging, we were able to find a few effective resources that included an online course that nearly 100 teacher volunteers were paid to participate in over the summer. Additionally, pre-service training included a module for teachers focused on student engagement online, as well as modules focused on technology supports. Our belief is that professional development should be multifaceted and should recognize the comprehensive and unique needs of adult learners. This was affirmed during emergency remote learning as we realized that teachers had various needs for support. As we continue to plan additional learning opportunities that will support our teachers during this school year. We're committed to making all professional development relevant to the current situation and specific challenges that our teachers are facing this year. I want to specifically express thanks to PCEF for providing express grants to our schools and teachers. Those grant awards are allowing teachers to purchase and use materials they believe will help them transition to a new way of engaging students this year. As we move into the future, we recognize that despite the challenges associated with schooling through a pandemic, we're in an excellent position to consider and plan for our future. I'm sure that many of you have seen and been involved in the process of Park City School District's master planning. This has been an inclusive process involving stakeholders to help shape a vision for the future of our district. As we move forward in this process, we've learned an important lesson. What we've always known is that learning is an individual experience. Each student learns differently. Some learn better face-to-face with teacher support, and some learn well independently. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused us to think differently about how our system can be designed to provide a more customized learning for our students. As we think about our educational approach moving forward, there's great opportunity to personalize learning for each student's strengths, needs, skills, and interests. It's also an opportunity to continue to provide professional development for our teachers that's focused on providing learning choices for students in the classroom and helping them to further develop their capacities to teach in and across many different modalities. While I really don't wish to have this experience of COVID-19, I have decided this complex situation has provided a number of lessons that have and will continue to drive us forward today. It's given us an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to our mission to equitably support students, to value our school and family partnership. It's taught us that teaching and learning are rooted in relationships, and planning must be responsive and inclusive. We've learned that we need to focus on well-being and have a plan to address learning gaps, that we need to provide differentiated professional development and move toward a continuum of services that will ensure a personalized learning experience for the children of Park City. I want to just thank you again for the opportunity to share my reflections with you. Let me again express my appreciation to the Park City Education Foundation and to you, our Scholar Circle friends. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hunt, for that very, very much. And we appreciate your time tonight and the effort put into this. And again, I want to thank everyone. I know it's a beautiful evening outside, and we've all spent a lot of time on Zoom. So thank you for being with us. And before we move to the next part of our presentation, we wanted to poll everyone out there to get your opinion, especially on some PCF events in the future. We can't do all of our in-person events that we're known for. So we just have a quick 3-question poll. If you guys could take a minute to answer it. And by the way, I'm Jen Billow. I'm the Associate Director of the Ed Foundation. If you guys could take a few minutes to answer the poll, and then we'll move to the next part of our presentation. Dr. Hunt talked a little bit about, the lessons of COVID, and we have this huge opportunity to make education better. And what she's saying reminded me of a quote from one of our teachers that he said in the spring, and he's like, I absolutely want to be back in the classroom face-to-face with my kids, but I actually hope we don't go back to normal. We have this extraordinary opportunity to push forward on some things because of this interruption, flexible scheduling, leveraging technology, reconsidering our practices. And that's exactly what Dr. Hunt just talked about, the lessons that we can learn from this. So we'll give you just a couple more seconds to answer the poll. And lots of people like the hike and learn. We have to do that one quickly or we could do a snowshoe and learn, right? Why not? All right. Mitch, I think we can go ahead and wrap the poll up and go ahead and start. I wanted to follow up. This part of the presentation is sort of a PCEF and a PCSD number one. We had, or 101, we had a lot of new families. And sometimes people are confused, what's the role of PCEF and the Park City School District. So moving on from what Abby said, she talked about how PCEF has been in Park City for over 30 years. And we have this kind of terrible equation in Park City where we have Utah is are you ready there, Mitch? There we go. I don't know if you can take I'm still seeing the poll results. I don't know if you can take that down.
Okay, they should not be showing poll results anymore.
Okay. All right. So anyway, as Abby mentioned, Utah is the lowest funded education system in the country. And also we have the situation where the funding mechanism, our state income taxes go toward education, and 96% of those go away. So how do we change this terrible equation? And Park City Education Foundation steps in to change that. So our programs, Abby talked about the 1.5 million in programs we fund every year. They reach every student in the district, all 5,000. And we provide 100% of the district's discretionary budget. So in this situation, there's not a lot of additions for things like elementary art, for instance. And then how do we do that? How does PCF work? So Mitch, can you go ahead and change to the next slide? So we have a staff of 5, a professional staff. We are paid, and you can see us there. So this is all on our website, so you can reach out to us anytime. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And we are part of the school district, but we answer to an independent board of directors, and we have a 24 board of directors. The superintendent is always on our board. And again, you can go to our website and read more about them, but these are community volunteers who volunteer their time to help direct Park City Education Foundation, mostly parents, but also community members and business owners. And then a huge part of what makes PCEF work are our school ambassadors. So these are parent volunteers who have kids at the schools. We typically have 2 at each school, and they're our liaison between the school, the PTO, and PCEF. So we work very collaboratively with the PTOs, and the ambassadors are kind of our boots on the ground for them, and we can't do what we do without the PTO and all these volunteers. So Mitch, you can go ahead and switch to the next one. And so what do we and all these volunteers do? We raise money to fund these programs so that students can reach their academic and lifelong potential. And we have 8 key initiatives that we fund. You can see them there on the screen. You can also go to our website to learn more about them. And this year, a big addition were the Emergency Express grants that Dr. Hunt talked about. And we will still continue to fund those this year in this time of COVID. And then Mitch, go ahead and to the last slide. You can also find all the PCF funded programs by school, where your kids go to school. So all of these programs add up to about 100 programs that your donations fund. So we're very thankful to everyone on this webinar and all our donors who help fund these programs. And then I'll just, in my part, before Dr. Hunt starts, go ahead, Mitch, to the next slide. So we have lots of opportunities to volunteer as well. So if you are interested, we have all kinds of committees up there. Someday we will get to do our events again. We need lots of volunteers, but about every year, 400 people volunteer for PCEF. And then Mitch, go ahead into the next slide. If you want to get involved, want to learn more about what your gifts do, please go to our website, read our monthly newsletter, and please follow us on social media with the the handles there. And that's kind of a quick PCEF 101. And Dr. Hunt, you can take it away for PCSD 101.
Okay, we're going to share a screen again. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. Okay, so our mission and vision was updated working with the community and board members in 2017. It was updated to clearly articulate and describe the aspirations of our district. The words are purposeful and they are intentional. Our mission is to inspire and support all students and to do that equitably. The vision for the district is student-centered with a focus and emphasis on the whole child. We adopted the national definition of whole child education and philosophy, where our emphasis is on keeping our students safe, supported, engaged, challenged, and healthy. Our governing board includes President Andrew Kaplan, Vice President Aaron Grady, Board Member Ann Peters, Wendy Crossland, and Kara Hendrickson. Our superintendent is Dr. Jill Gilday, and our Chief Financial Officer is Mr. Todd Haber. In our district, we look at three major divisions or departments as areas. First, we have academics. I'm fortunate to serve as our Chief Academic Officer, and I supervise all things teaching and learning, which includes curriculum, instruction, assessment, educational programming, professional learning, and leadership development and accountability. Our operations officer, Mr. Mike Tanner, oversees all of the business operations of the district, including food service, transportation, facilities, human resources, and safety and security. And Mr. Haber oversees our financial system, meaning he works with budgeting, revenue, expenditures, financial projections, and all things finance. PCSD is home to 5,000 students in 4 elementary schools, Jeremy Ranch, McPullen, Parley's Park, and Trailside, as well as a middle school, Ecker Hill Middle, a junior high, Treasure Mountain Junior High, and high school, Park City High School. The district also offers a nonprofit child care center at the high school for children ages 6 weeks to pre-K, and we have a preschool at 4 of our elementary schools. Of the 5,000 students that attend our Park City schools, we have about 20% Latino, 8% English language learners, 7% with disabilities, and 22% who have free or reduced lunch. We have a robust after-school program that's highlighted in red because Park City Education Foundation is the funder of this program. And as I mentioned before, we have a one-to-one technology initiative. That means that every student in our district has a device for learning at home. Our kindergarten through 2nd graders have iPads, and our 3rd through 12th graders have the MacBook Air. Park City School District programs are world-class programs. We're focused in our district on academic success. It's our mission to develop the potential of every student through data-driven and best learning practices to be academically successful and prepared for life beyond graduation. We want to make sure that we provide a safe and optimal and equitable learning environment for all of our students and for our staff. Some of the highlights of our elementary program include a dual language immersion program, both in French and Spanish. We have a computer coding initiative that also is funded with funds from Park City Education Foundation, as well as our EVA specialist rotations and our STEM and makerspace. In our secondary schools, we have a dual language program. We have career technical education, and our PC CAPS program Our PC CAPS program is one where students are able to participate in a capstone project that they have completed as an intern with a local company and or business to have some real world approaches to learning and working in the industry that they so choose. We also have a Latinos in Action and Bright Future program that I'm excited to share, has worked with several universities, including the Utah State University, to provide guaranteed enrollment for students who graduate from Park City School District and have participated in the Bright Futures program. When it comes to activities and extracurricular activities, Park City is bar none. Our music programs, debate, athletics, cheerleading, makerspace, everything that you can imagine is included and part of the programming that we offer here in Park City. Recently, we added a new tool, and I wanted to talk about that for a minute because I think that it's something that you'll want to be able to engage with and see as you continue to be part of our district. On our district website, under the tab Districts and under Data and Statistics, we have a new dashboard. And this dashboard has all of the characteristics of each of the departments from the chiefs that I described in our district that help explain a little bit more about our district. And as you go in and look at this dashboard, you can click on each of these individual data points to be able to learn a little bit more about the district. I'm not live on that internet page right now, but I would invite you to take some time when you have it to go and take a look, to learn a little bit more, to see some of the great academic achievements that we're making in this district, and to understand a little bit more about who we are and the things that we offer our students. It's no surprise that we've been voted in 2020 the best school district in Utah. I also want to just remind everyone here that one of the most important things to us is a school and family partnership. There are several ways to be involved in the school district, and we invite you to do so. One possible way is to be a member of the school community council. Each school has an elected committee that helps make decisions about how to utilize school land trust funds to support education and enrichment of students. And each school has a parent-teacher organization, or PTO. We invite you to volunteer. Our families and our parents who come and participate at our schools make all the difference. Park City is an amazing place to be. We're grateful that we have the support of organizations like PCEF. We're grateful that we have the support of parents. We're grateful for our talented and high quality educators. It's wonderful for us to be able to provide the world-class education that we do for our students here in Park City.
Thank you again, Dr. Hunt. I'm excited to learn about that dashboard. We love data over here at the Ed Foundation, and when it's easy to find, we like that even more. So we're ending a little early. I hope no one is upset with that. We can go out and enjoy this beautiful evening. I do want to thank Dr. Hunt for the time and effort into this, and also all the admin and teachers in this district that have just put in incredible hours to give our kids the best education that they can possibly get in completely crazy circumstances that no one could have ever imagined. And then we also want to thank you, our incredible education champions, our leadership donors, our Scholar Circle members, for making it possible. We help the Park City School District become that best district in the state. You saw so many of Dr. Hunt's programs that she put up in red, that were helped funded by PCEF. I'm going to say in the CTE, there's also a lot there that PCEF funds as well. So if there is a program in the district that your child loves, I can almost guarantee that there is PCEF funding supporting it. So we appreciate that. If you, I don't know, we didn't have the ability to do Q&A. I see Mary Wright raised her hand, but Mary, please email me, jbillow@pcschools.us, with any questions. If you guys want to learn any more about how you can support our students to reach their academic and lifelong potential, please reach out to any of us at the Ed Foundation. And again, thank you for your partnership in making this school district the best one in the state. And we'll say goodbye.